Molly Macabre. I am a self-published horror author of Dark Bloom. I am a book reviewer for FanFi Addict. I am the co-founder of the Dark Veil Society and all around just a lover of books. Today's video, we are going to talk about novellas you need on your bookshelf. So, we are going to start with whatever one I pick up first. I did a review video on this one, Performances of a Death Metal Bard. This one is really fun. It's like a dark fantasy D&D if the bard played metal. But there's a lot of fun adventures that we get to go on. The main character is Ozymandias, Mandy for short. He's super funny. He's got a lot of heart, and this book just takes him on a lot of wild adventures. This was a really good time. Next up, we've got some horror, some macabre things. We've got Death Cult by Janelle Shiki. This novella is so much fun in the most gruesome of ways. We've got a death cult, actually, so that's cool. We've got 80s horror vibes. We've got two guys who are going on a road trip. They've just graduated. They're hanging out. They're just trying to, de-stress and enjoy some freedom after such a long period of time of commitments and assignments and such. Well, obviously, their trip does not quite go as planned. They run into like this really desolate town where all the residents are weird and they keep talking about something ominous that is taking place, and they get caught up in something really crazy. Janelle is just an incredible author. She's an incredible writer. Yeah, I breezed through this novella. I loved every moment of it. It was just so dark, so delicious, so creepy. Pick it up, especially if you're a horror fan. Next up, we have a novella that I finished quite recently. I think in the past week. Again, I flew through this. We've got An Inkling of Flame by Z.B. Steele. An Inkling of Flame is, I'm still learning all these terms that come with fantasy and sci-fi novels. I've heard it described as grimdark. So, I mean, that seems like a fitting category for this book. We've got, our main character is one who, he is a troublesome kid. He's the kid in town that just does all the bad things. And eventually he does all the bad things, whether he actually did them or not. He's just kind of a scapegoat. Somebody that everyone's just kind of given up on until he meets somebody who actually is willing to give him the time of day. And he becomes a part of this group of friends, and their banter in this is just, it's funny and it's raw and it's genuine. They get really close, and then they have to go off to war. ZB does a really great job at portraying the inner thoughts and the attitudes of such young people going off to war for the first time. Not that I lived that, but I have I watched my husband go to Marine Corps boot camp and then go through boot camp and graduate and then go overseas. And so I remember all of the things he would talk about, the way he described it, and then comparing it to now, his thoughts on things now. War changes people. It was really just emotional and fascinating watching these four young characters go off and train and march and everything they went through. I don't want to give away anything. Pick it up. His writing is just, it's awesome. It's gorgeous. I absolutely loved the descriptions, the way everything is laid out. It's a good read. Our next novella we're going to talk about is The Whisper That Replaced God by Timothy Wolfe. Okay, so first of all, where do I start? I listened to this on audio, and this is one of the books that I talk about. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and most narrators are fine and pleasant enough. This is an example of an audiobook that I feel like the narrator was made for this book. He's perfect. Your main character is Lord Mute, and he is very much just in his own world. And he's funny and witty and wisdomous. That's definitely a word. Lord Mute is part of a royal family. There's some drama going on, some possible assassination attempts. He's taken to another kingdom where he has a meeting with another king about some shady business. He's obsessed with Dorothy, who has an alternative lifestyle as far as work goes. Just every line, every bit of prose is beautiful or incredibly witty. It's I was just laughing out loud in my car. This was one where I started the audiobook and I'm just listening. I'm driving to work, and it's not that I didn't expect greatness. I was just, I didn't know what I was in for. And then I just the first couple of lines, I was like, "Wait, what?" And then I just couldn't stop. I have listened to this audiobook twice now. So this is probably the first book I've ever reread. And I plan on reading it in paperback very soon, because the next novella I'm going to tell you about is part 2. So we've got The Whisper, The Replaced God, part 2, Silent Almighty. I really need you to see this cover if I can make this work. Look at that cover. That's so cool. So I'm gonna reread part 1, and then I'm gonna get into part 2. I'm in the middle of a pretty chonky book right now, at least chonky for me, because 400 pages is a lot. It takes me a while to get through. I'm loving it. I'm currently reading Rebel Unbound by E.R. Phoenix. I'm about halfway through. It's fantastic. But I like to kind of throw in novellas if I have them in between, because my next book afterwards is going to be another long book. So this makes me feel quite accomplished when I can knock out a novella in a couple of days, and I also get pretty ahead on my Goodreads reading challenge, for the year. So I'm already 5 or 6 books ahead already, so that's pretty cool, especially being that I always tell you guys how slow of a reader I am. Okay, so those are 5 novellas you need to pick up. I'll have links below so you can go buy them. Beautiful thing about novellas too is they're always super cheap. Molly updates. What does Molly have going on? So the majority of my beta readers have finished Darkbloom 2. They've given me some incredibly wonderful insight. So much so that I have actually changed the ending a little bit. So that's pretty cool. I am going through and doing my round of edits. It's mostly grammatical things. My documents are so long in Google Docs that Grammarly's just given up on me, so I'm just free writing at this point. Sometimes it'll fix a word misspelling if it's really obvious, but most of the time it just doesn't pick up on things. So I'm taking each chapter and I'm posting it into a new document, going through, reading over it, making sure everything's good, and then going back. Once I am done, rather than going through and editing it 6 or 7 or 8 times, after I'm done with this, I'm going to send it off to my editor. Once he's done doing his part and breaking my heart and smashing all my hopes and dreams, I will go through it again, fix all of the things he suggests, or not, because that's a beautiful thing about being self-published, is that his suggestions are just suggestions. But I will clean it up, and then I'm going to send it off to him again, because I want to make sure that everything is top tier. So that's really exciting. My cover artist is working on my sequel cover, as well as a re-release of my first cover. I'm not going to give away any details yet, but we're going to be snazzing up that cover a little bit with some words. We're going to throw some words on there because we like words. We're authors. So those are the novellas you need to pick up. Those are some Molly updates. I may be doing another live interview soon. I'm talking with an author currently about that. We're working out some dates and times, seeing what works best for us. This is not going to be something that I am going to be doing regularly, because I just don't have the time for it. And also it makes me incredibly nervous. But it will be something that I would like to do here and there. It's fun. I really enjoy having all of my besties in the chat, just hyping up these authors because they're incredible. So I hope everyone's having a great week. Tell me down in the comments if you've read in any of these novellas, any other novellas I should check out. Tell me your favorite novella. I don't know. Just tell me. Tell me something. Tell me something in the comments. All right. That's all I got for you. Stay macabre.